Hi guys, welcome to my life story part 2. It's lagging today. Where did I end last time? I think I was 7 years old, right? Yeah. I ain't gonna tell too much detailed parts. I'm gonna take the highlights between 7 and 10 today. And yeah. My mother was divorced, and me and my brother was living alone with my mother in Växjö. And it was a very interesting times back in the day when you grew up. If you look at society today, I had a couple of friends that my daycare mother had, a group of the neighborhood gang, and we were used to sorry, gotta stretch myself. It's 11:11 when I record this. We used to hang out in the forests, making tree houses, playing cowboys and Indians. I was an Indian, of course, but I like weapons, but I prefer the bow. But I was always picked last, for the teams and so on. So it all started in early days of daycare. I was a bedwetter. I was wetting my bed a lot when I was younger because of the inner stress and stuff like that at home. My mom couldn't buy the clothes that my friends had, like Nike, Adidas, and stuff like that. So she was forced to buy cheaper shoes and like copycat clothes that are similar to the clothes I wanted, because I didn't want to be outside the group, And on the daycare in the early age was very hard on me. It was very stressful because somebody found out I was wetting my bed and started calling me names early on. The one that got stuck all the way up to 9th grade actually was Johan Toan Dassa Pappa. Roughly translated, that means Johan toilet paper. And that hit me a lot. That hit me hard. Very hard. I remember fearing going to the daycare in the early years because all the guys was, you want to want that papa, you want to want that papa. The bullying started really early, so. And if we skip to the 1st grade, 2nd grade, and the 3rd grade, I didn't have a lot of male friends in school. I used to hang with the girls because they accepted me for what I was. and who I am as a person, because I was a funny guy. That was my survival mechanism, the clown of the class, you know. And there were 2 summers I went to summer camp for a month, I think 4 weeks or 5 weeks each. And yeah, that was really hard too, because again I didn't have a lot of male friends, boyfriends, boyfriend. So I hang with a couple of girlfriends, and we hang out in the woods, down at the beach. We were at the west coast of Sweden at Skrea, Sommarkollo, 2 years in a row. And my mother was getting sick at the time. This is what's in 2nd and 3rd grade. Those 2 summers. And my mom got cancer and went down to Lund hospital. It's a big hospital in Sweden, specialized on cancer and some other stuff at this time in life. I believe this was around 82, 83, 1982 and 1983. So she was home a lot, so she couldn't do a lot of things. And when she was away and left me and my brother at home, we were out stealing apples and fruits from the house neighborhood, in the gardens, in people's gardens, you know, around my apartment neighborhood complex. So we had to survive, because the money wasn't enough at the time, because she was away for treatment, cancer treatment. So sometimes when the money was out too early, we had to go out at night and steal apples and pears and plums, berries, just to survive, actually, when the food in the refrigerator was out. So I had a very hard childhood in that way, but I learned how to survive. That made me to who I am today. It shaped me to the way I am in my thinking. So in early age I developed complex CPTSD. It was in this time between 1st and 3rd grade. I was this is very hard to talk about still. I was sexually abused by 2 men in a apartment complex staircase, under the staircase, right side outside 2 apartments on the entrance floor. And I successfully fought my way out and ran home to my mother and my brother and told them what happened. And they didn't believe me, because one of the guys was actually a couple years older than my big brother, and he's born 1969 and I'm 1973. So he went to the same school as this guy. So he was in 9th grade and my brother was in 6th grade. And yeah, not being believed by what was happening at the time shook me to the core, because, hey, I'm your child, why don't you believe me? You know, that story. So after that one, I started to develop more and more. I was a rascal, you know, breaking windows. I actually accidentally, with a friend, started a forest fire almost by taking I don't know the word anymore, you know, looking glass, you know, when you look and you magnify the glass on ants in the woods, and in this place the grass was dry, so it started a fire, so we had to cut down branches to stop the fire. And yeah, so that was an expression of my dissatisfaction of being disbelieved. And when I look back at it now, man, it was a cry for help, man. It was a big cry for help. And I wished I didn't do this stuff, because, hey, a child should never go through these things alone. Never. And the bullying in school multiplied the anxiety in my body, so I started to eat a lot. Comfort eating. Comfort eating, yeah. And my mother loved cats, and I was raised with 4 cats at most at the same time in our lives. And I had a cat called Snowet. In English translated is the string. And she always came to me when I came home from school, jumped up in my lap, in my couch, and didn't move until Mom came home. Oh, food. Then back to me, because I was raised by the television. My second parent was the television, because I had a father figure when I grew up, so the television became my second parent. And I naturally got drawn to nature documentaries, science fiction, fantasy, cartoons, martial arts, war. I started developing interest of war history, guns, weapons, how animal works. I love snakes. I have been loving snakes since the 3rd grade, when I did a report on snakes. My first animal school assignment. And it was about the reticulated python. And yeah, I got hooked on big snakes early on, because I don't like venomous snakes as much. But now I like the king cobra, because that's the most intellectual snake in the world. Check it out. Kevin McCurley and at Nerd, and Brian Barczyk, Chandler's Wildlife, great channel if you want want to know more about snakes. Anyway, back to the story. So I was starting to eat a lot, so I gained a lot of weight and got bullied even more after that. So then mid-school started, and yeah, it was tough coming to a bigger school because we had 4th to the 6th grade in the same play yard, and I was pretty big at the time. I think I was 15 to 20 kilos over my ideal weight at the time, so I was pretty round in my shape. I'm still big. I've lost and gained and lost and gained and lost and gained, so it comes and goes. And the summer times were even more drastic because my mom got sick again. Or did she had some side effects of the medicine and the chemotherapy? I don't know. I put a lot away in my mind because it's like a memory blockation. I can't recall everything, but that's CPTSD for you. How to survive trauma. You lock those memories in a dark place and you throw away the key, and now I can't find the key, you know. And my brother was not at the same age, and I want to hang with his friends too, so I wasn't so much allowed in the garage. He was into mopeds and motorcycles, like every boy was as a teenager in Sweden. And I wanted to learn those stuff too, but I was always sent away. Hey, you can't hang with us, you know, blah blah blah, you're too young, blah blah blah. Anyway, then the summer of 1984 came, and this saved my life, actually. My mother started working as a youth center leader at Bergendalska Gården in Växjö, one of the oldest and biggest youth centers in Växjö town, in the town center almost. And they had a summer course. I was starting to break dance. I was pretty good actually, doing the robot and, you know. I ain't been dancing breakdance for years. So anyways, in the late summer of 1984, I met a guy called Mikael Matuszek at the time. He was a drummer, and he had a crash course for 2 weeks, how to learn and test to play drums, and within a week I could play the stuff he taught to the students within days. He said I was a natural talent, and that saved my life, because he said to me, Johan, you are a natural talent, but you need to practice. It's always 60% natural talent and 40% of practice that makes perfection, because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to instruments. Just by that quote, he said to me. And he said to my mother, hey Colin, Johan has full access to my drum set in the basement. He can practice, because our band is taking a break. We don't know how long, so I was practicing hours for hours after school every day that autumn and the following next year. So we are coming to that in the next episode of part 3, life story part 3, and then the good stuff is beginning to come back to me. So see you next week doing or when I see you. I'm hungry. I gotta have some breakfast, late breakfast, some brunch. I hope you like my stories, and please subscribe, share, and press the like button so other people can find me, so maybe I can inspire them to tell them, to make them start their own channels and start talking, like I said in the last one, in the wood sessions. I love you all. I hope you have a beautiful day with lots of blessings and a peaceful mind. In Lakesh.